as a video editor, content creator, creative entrepreneur, or, all of the above, there's one thing we just don't have a lot of. That's why I've taken some of my biggest tips for saving time, crammed them together in this video so that way you can spend more time focusing on the important things and less time on trying to edit your video so you can do something else because, there's a lot of other things to do in the world. In this video, I am going to be focusing on DaVinci Resolve primarily, so if you use Avid or use Premiere Pro or Final Cut Pro, well, unfortunately, this video probably isn't going to be much use to you. Just a heads up, I did come out recently with a video production checklist, which I'm going to leave a link to down below. It is free, so, go ahead and check it out. I'm here to help you get productive, so let's get into this. Before you do, consider subscribing if you're not already. I like to help out creative entrepreneurs, so, if we're on the same page here, hit the subscribe button, and now let's move on. So starting off with number 1 is project preset settings. If you're creating video projects, which I don't know why you wouldn't be, you're watching this video really, and you've already made it this far, chances are that you've had to set your settings numerous times before you even start your project, which can be kind of tedious. Even though it doesn't take that long, it does eat up some time, and we're in the process of trying to save time right now. A big part of that is going to be eliminating the common tasks that we're typically doing. So setting presets is the perfect way to accomplish that. Let's get into that. Now, most of the time you're probably not going to have to affect these settings. However, if you're like me and you switch between different projects all the time where one's 4K, the other isn't, or even if there are specific settings that you have that you want to set so that way it takes effect every single time, then you're going to want to do this and you're only going to want to do it once. So yeah, first thing you're going to do, you're either going to push Shift 9 or you're going to click on this cog right here. And here you have your timeline settings. Now, the cool thing about the timeline settings is that even if you have 4K footage, you can still keep an HD timeline and it's not going to affect the quality. When you render it out, it's going to pop up with a little message, but beyond that, you can keep it here and save your system resources, because if you increase this to 4K, then your computer does have the huge potential to drag if it's not in super beast mode. You can set up your timeline for IGTV and actually just reverse these numbers to do 1080 by 1920, and that'll give you a vertical video that you can work with that you can then post to IGTV. So you can create a preset for that too, which is pretty awesome. Going down here, you can actually change your cache settings if you want to. I just keep mine at the default. However, one thing here where it says enable background caching after 5 seconds, I like to change this to 3. Because what this is when your computer is idle for 5 seconds, that's when it starts the background caching. So if you are using caching, which I don't know why you wouldn't be using caching, at that point what's going to happen is it's only going to wait 3 seconds instead of 5 seconds. I realize it's a 2-second difference, it's not a lot of time, but still. This is also a space where you can change your cache and gallery stills location. Unless you're messing with your settings, you probably don't need to change this. Image scaling, everything here can actually just stay the same, so you're good with that. Going to general options, everything here, again, is going to stay pretty much the same. Now, I am on Windows, so a couple of settings are going to be different between the two, but for the most part, I'm just focused on the regulars here. Camera raw, this one's if you're using a specific camera, so Arri Alexa, which is a super expensive camera. If you're using raw footage or anything, that's where you're going to set these settings. Capture and playback. This has to do with any capture settings. So if you're recording voiceovers or anything into DaVinci Resolve itself, then some of these settings might be applicable to you. Then you have your subtitle settings. These don't need to change. And then Fairlight. Fairlight I would actually change. So on here, where it says target loudness level, by default, it's at -23 LUTs, I believe, and YouTube has a maximum of -14. So if you go above that -14, what's going to end up happening is YouTube is going to normalize your audio and it's not going to sound as good. They're going to use their own compression algorithm and your audio is going to sound like crap, really. So I set this at -14 so I know exactly where my peak is going. Beyond that, if you have all of your settings set, next thing you're going to do is go up to presets, set a new preset. So we're going to hit save as, we'll just name it default video. Click OK. Now there's 2 things that you can do at this point. First thing is you can just leave it as is. So every time that you open DaVinci Resolve and you're working on a particular project, for example, IGTV, if you want to switch the resolution back to the 1080 by 1920 versus the 1920 by 1080, then all you would have to do is click on this, click load, and it would load it up for each individual project. However, if you're not doing that and you're going to be using the same profile all of the time, then all you have to do is right click on default video or whatever you named your preset, click set as user default config, and it's going to load it every single time. So watch this. I'm going to go home. So we'll do a new project, hit test. And now when we load this up, if we go to the cog, because I set it as default, here it is at 3 seconds. Now, if I want to go back to the normal one, then all I have to do is click on any one of these, hit load, and it'll load the default. So there you go. DaVinci Resolve and Blackmagic Design, they're really good about just setting the settings that are going to work for most people. Now, obviously, if you want to tweak it a little bit, you know how to do it, you know how to save it, so that way you don't have to do it every single time. Maybe you're switching between 4K and 1080p, or maybe you're doing Instagram. So number 2 in this video is all about power bins. Chances are you've run into a circumstance where you've wanted to reuse the same elements in different videos, and unfortunately copying from one project to the next project hasn't always been the most clear, at least not for me, and especially if you're just starting out with DaVinci Resolve, it can be kind of confusing. So, yeah, let's get into that. So this is definitely one of those features that you want to know about. Before I even knew this was a thing, I was constantly switching between projects, and this was super frustrating because it would take up to 5 minutes to switch between the projects and copy the elements, and sometimes it didn't copy correctly, and yeah. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about. Let's say, for example, that I created a title. So this is a video that I'm working on right now for the Foodie 2, which will be out before you actually see this video, but I created these titles for our names like several videos ago, and I've been reusing them every single time. So I can actually take these at any point and then copy them in here. Now let's say that I decide to just create something new for the sake of this video. I'm going to go to my effects library and I'm just going to create a random title that I have here. And what I'm going to do is copy it into my power bins, which are already selected right here. And we'll rename it. Let's load up a new project. Now we'll go into my power bins and we'll drag what's up down here. There you go. Element is saved. Now, unfortunately, there are a couple of caveats to this. Number 1 is if you are doing compound clips. It doesn't like compound clips. B-roll, and I'm just gonna copy this B-roll in here. I don't even know what it is, but there we go. All right, so I have this in here. If I were to create a compound clip out of this, and I go into my power bins and try and drag it, it's gonna pop up with an error telling me, please unselect these items before adding to the power bin. Like, it just can't do compound clips, fusion clips, timelines, like, kind of sucks that there are limitations to that. So there is a workaround to that, which is pretty much defaulting to what I was explaining before about switching between projects, which kind of stinks. So if I was to take this and copy it, and then we open this back up, and let's go back to the video that I was working on, click at the end and then paste, like, that's gonna work. It is what it is. Like, we were able to copy that into there. That's the workaround, but obviously it took some time to actually load that up. Now, one power tip to help you save time here, if you are doing switching between different projects to be able to copy different elements that unfortunately is just popping up errors for, what you can actually do is go into the project folder here, right click, and make sure that dynamic project switching is on. This is gonna keep your project in memory. So if, for example, I go back to test, and I'm gonna copy this twice just so you can see it. Because the project is still loaded in memory, it's not gonna take as much time to be able to switch it. Plus, I don't have to look for it. And so I'm just gonna paste it here. And if I need to switch back, then I can just switch back to test like that, and automatically it's gonna load. Boom, then I can copy my next element or do whatever it is that I need to do. Now, unfortunately, dynamic project switching only works if you're on the same database. If you switch databases, then all the projects that were open get closed out of memory. So it is something to consider. It is going to take extra time to be able to switch between the different databases to copy from one project to another. You can open as many projects as you want. Just keep in mind, your computer has a finite amount of resources. You don't want to eat up all of those resources doing it. So number 3 on this list is all about PowerGrades and LUTs. Chances are you're creating multiple videos that you want to have a similar look. Well, instead of going through and regrading everything from scratch, the easiest way is just to either use PowerGrades or to create your own LUTs or use other people's LUTs. So, let's check that one out. So I used to redo all of my colors with every single video that I would make. If you're repeating the same steps over and over and over again, it gets really boring. I don't like to be bored. I'm sure you don't either. So yeah, don't be bored, people. Let's take my latest video, my thumbnail batching video. Okay, cool. So for this, what I ended up doing was creating groups. So I have my pre-clip group settings. I have my clip, which I didn't do anything on. And then I have my post clip. And my post clip is almost always going to be the same. So if you're just grading a clip that's not within a group, then you only have to do this once. But in this instance, because I have a pre and I have a post, I'm gonna end up doing this multiple times. What you can do is right click on here, click grab still, okay? That is for post. So I'm just gonna say example in this case, just so I can tell what the differences are. And then I'm gonna do one more for my pre, all right? Because I have a particular look that I'm going for. So again, we're gonna go in here, click grab still, and this one's pre. So I'm just gonna name this example as well. If you don't have your gallery open, you wanna make sure that you open that. And then if you don't have the side panel here, you wanna make sure that you do click on it so that way you have your options listed right here. In stills, this isn't going to transfer to other projects. Just like Power Bins, as soon as you select both of these and you drag them into PowerGrade, it's going to be here and it's going to be available no matter what project that you're working on. What you can do is open up your project manager, and I'm just going to open up test in this example, and then I'm just going to go to my timeline and drag in some random footage that I have. So we're going to use this footage that's right here. I'm just going to pick a shot. Let's just pick this shot. Open this up for a second. It looks kind of flat. What I can do ahead of time is do my pre-grade. Okay, so already it looks a little good. Because this isn't a group clip, I'm going to select my last node, and then I'm just gonna double click on post and apply that as well. I wanna keep things organized, so there are a couple of adjustments that I need to make. I'm just gonna open up my scopes down here. So my blacks are almost crushing. I need to bring these up. So I'm gonna bring up my lift. And I can also see that it's not really balanced. So I'm going to adjust that as well. That's a little bit better. Overall, I'd say that looks pretty good. So this is before and this is after. Huge difference, and I was just able to copy that over. Now, this is great if you're working within the same database, but if you're working in a different database or you want to access this on a different computer, or maybe this is a look that you want to pass off to other people and maybe you want to sell it, right? So all you have to do is open up your clips, right click on the clip and click generate 3D LUT. Once you let go, you're gonna pick a location to save it. I am going to go in here and go to training, and I'm just gonna name dark shadow, okay? If I go to my LUTs, training, you can see it's right here and I can use it in any video that I create. Okay, cool. So what if you want to install third-party LUTs, or you want to find where you save that LUT and you want to pass it off like I said? Go into your project settings, go to color management and scroll all the way down where it says open LUT folder. This will also work if you are trying to install LUTs. You want to open DaVinci Resolve and you want to go to open LUT folder. It's the easiest way to find where the LUTs are saved, because like seriously, this is complicated. I'm not gonna remember where this is. Going into this where training was, and boom, dark shadow. Now all I have to do is copy this, throw it into a zip file, upload it online, or do whatever with it, and other people can use it in theirs, or I can use it on a different computer, what have you. Now, if you did just install a LUT by dragging it into the folder by hitting open LUT folder, to use that LUT immediately, either A, close DaVinci Resolve, but you know, ain't nobody got time for that. You don't, yeah. All you have to do is go back to this window, hit update lists, and boom, it's gonna update all of your lists and the database. It's gonna do a little search. As you can see, it takes a little bit of time for it to update, but once it's updated, you're all set. You click save, you're done. Now, the cool thing is, Installing LUTs is going to be global, so you can switch databases and you're still going to have access to those LUTs. All you do is go into your color folder, you go to your LUTs here, and you find your LUT. There it is. Boom. You apply it, and you're good to go. A lot of people think that by applying a power grade or a LUT, that's all that they have to do. If you apply it and you don't make those corrections, it could completely ruin the video and the look that you're trying to go for. So make some adjustments and such, because even though you're using a LUT, lighting conditions change and you're going to want to adapt to those lighting changes. For example, when I wear an orange shirt, it completely throws all of the colors off and I look like a freaking Oompa Loompa, like I've said in my previous videos. Like, nobody likes Oompa Loompas. They're annoying, they sing stupid songs, and they're Smurfs with green hair and orange skin, so I guess they're not Smurfs at all. Number 4 on this list has to do with sound design. Chances are that if you've been doing the same type of videos over and over, or you have the same person who's speaking within a similar environment, then you've had to set the same exact settings every single time. Well, this can eat up a lot of time, and you know, in this video, we're all about saving time. So I've been using this for the last several months, and it took over 2 years for me to actually figure out this was actually a thing. But I was setting my sound by hand for over 2 years. Just kind of let that sink in for a second. First things first, I have all my audio, and there are certain settings that I'm going to set every single time. So I've already set up my sound design settings. What I'm going to do is apply it to these tracks. This is from my video for thumbnail batching. First, going up to Fairlight, we're going to go to presets library, and for audio, for the equalizer presets, I'm going to tap apply. So automatically over here, you can see my EQ settings were set. Next, what I want to do is go down to dynamics, tap on my name, tap on audio, apply, and the dynamics were set. What I typically do for my default dynamics is I set up a compressor, and sometimes I'll use a gate, sometimes I won't. It really depends on what's going on in the background. For this, I'm going to disable the gate, but I almost always have send on, and the reason why is because if I have background music, then it helps with auto ducking. I'm going to show you that in a couple of minutes. I'm going to go down to plugins because, you know, there are some plugins that I need to apply. So we're going to plugins array, hit apply, automatically multiband compressor gets added on, and noise reduction, and of course I can adjust this as I need to. I would encourage doing a new noise reduction every time because sound dynamics in rooms change. Sometimes the air is running, or you can hear a truck outside, or whatever the case might be. You know, you're gonna want to rerun it every single time, but at least the settings are pre-dialed in. Okay, cool. So I set all that up, and next what I'm gonna do is I am going to change my track type to mono. Okay, cool. And let's say you don't like the default color. Let's change that color to let's say lime green. Okay, so looking good so far. There's a lot of steps though, and to actually do this every single time is kind of a pain in the ass. Let's do it a different way. I'm gonna undo everything. What we're gonna do is go up to Fairlight, go to preset library, drop this down to global track presets. I'm gonna click track array, I'm gonna click on audio, I'm going to click apply. Yes, boom. So what just happened here? I changed my track color, I changed my track type from stereo to mono. It applied my EQ settings, my dynamics, my effects. It pretty much did absolutely everything on that track. Now, if I want to include a soundtrack, for example, I'm just gonna say add track and add stereo. Now let's say that I'm gonna put background music in. I'm not actually gonna put background music in. In fact, I'm probably not even gonna play this, but I'm just gonna drag this down to act as my background music track, just as a placeholder for an example. So I did the same exact thing, but for my background music tracks. And so if I go up to Fairlight and I go to preset library, global track presets is already selected, hit track, hit audio 2, apply. Any of the settings and dynamics that I have towards the background music is automatically applied. So if I go into my dynamics, it's listening, so it'll actually apply ducking automatically, which is pretty awesome. So the question then comes, well, that's great, Ray, but how do I set this? How do I save this? And that's what I'm going to show you now. So we're going to add another track. Let's just add another stereo track. Actually, I'm going to move this down, and then I'm going to delete this one. All right, so this one has absolutely no dynamics applied to it whatsoever. as you can see here, there's like nothing here. So if I want to add, say for example, dynamics, we'll add multi-band compressor. The default settings are good. And let's say that I want to do the, okay, let's not. And let's say that I just want to mess with the dynamics really quick. So I'll put a gate on and we'll just mess with this to kind of do whatever. Like, I'm not taking this super seriously as far as the settings. It's probably going to sound awful anyways if I were to play it. So close that. Awesome. So I have my dynamics here and I have my multi-band compressor. Change the color to, let's say violet. Okay. Settings are good. Now I'm going to go to Fairlight. I'm going to go to preset library, and I can set these individually for each one of these if I wanted to. I'm just going to set the global track presets because this is the most convenient one. Go to global track presets. I'm going to select audio 2 and I'm going to say save new. And with this, I'm going to say test. Okay. So boom, test is right there. So if I were to, so now if I close this out and let's say I drag this to a new track and then I delete this one, what I can actually do here is go to Fairlight, go to presets library, select test, select audio 2, select apply. Everything that I just saved is completely done. Now, even though you have all the presets completely set up, there's still a couple of things that you're going to want to do to make sure that your audio sounds good, because yeah, presets are great, but you still have to separate your tracks. If you're doing dialogue, you still have to balance those tracks because everybody's voice is a little different. And sometimes you're going to have highs, sometimes you're going to have lows, sometimes it's just going to be all over the place. So it's important to get that down. And then of course, as I mentioned before, noise reduction, you want to obviously adapt that to whatever is going on in the room at that particular time. So if the air is running, if there's a truck outside that's running, or if you're running, chances are you're probably out of breath at that point because you've been running the whole time. Just, take a deep breath, stop for a second, and it's probably not a good idea to run while you're video editing or doing sound work. I don't know. Whatever floats your boat. So in any event, so bonus tip about this, unlike the other tips that I've shown you throughout this entire series, is that this is actually going to work across every database that you have, which is really cool. Because with a lot of the other tips, they would only work in the same database and you had to export them and do all this complicated stuff. And, nobody likes to be complicated. I don't want to be complicated. You're complicated. So it works globally, which is really awesome. For example, as you saw on the screen, I had a track for me and I had one for Tara. So when we record Foodie2 videos and I'm editing those, I only have to apply the same sound settings that I apply towards these videos, which, yeah, I save like time twice as much. I save twice as much time. This is especially useful if you're trying to save time and you don't want to spend that extra half an hour to an hour just dialing in the sound settings, trying to get everything perfect. Yeah, it's already done. Or, it will be, and then you save the preset and then it'll be done. Number 5 in this list has to do with the delivery of your video. And I mean, like, once you're finished with your video, not the delivery and the speaking during the video, because that's what I'm doing right now. And, I feel like that's a different topic anyway, so we'll cover that next time. In any event, chances are that you're using similar settings every single time that you export a video. So the best way to save time in doing that is to create a preset for it. And, that's what we're about to do. So in this, I'm just going to focus on YouTube settings. However, your project might have different requirements. You should already know what those are. And if you do multiple projects of the same thing, then these presets are definitely going to help you out. So first thing, we're going to jump over to the deliver page. I like to click on H.264 over here to really just fill in a lot of the defaults for me because I don't need to adjust a lot of the different settings. First thing is I want to change automatic right here down to 60,000 kilobits per second. This is really just for HD. If it's 4K, then you want to up it to about 80,000 kilobits per second, just so the quality stays high and nice. I know that DaVinci Resolve has a YouTube preset, but I don't like how you can't actually set the individual settings on here for certain things, such as the quality, which is really frustrating. So that's why I stick with the H.264. Again, though, you want to make sure that it's at 60,000 1,000 and not at 10,000, which was just the default as you saw right there. Another thing is if you're doing subtitles, so for the Foodie 2, Terra actually types out all of the subtitles. So that's something that we render out whenever we do our videos. Going down here, all you would do is tap on export subtitle and pick whatever you're doing. All right, cool. So let's say that you're not doing subtitles for this, but you are going to do a watermark for each one of your videos. All you would have to do is scroll down here to data burn-in, make sure that it says same as project. And then an additional thing that you'll want to do is go up to workspace and drop down to data burn-in. You know, you could do the time code or you could do custom text, and you can say like, do not distribute, and keep it like that. Then once you close it, you'll see this is watermarked at the bottom, and this will burn into your video. So this watermark is going to appear on every single video that you end up exporting as long as you're using this preset. So what we can do is go up to these three dots over here, tap on Save as New Preset, and we're gonna say Watermark. And here you can see watermark, so we can actually apply this towards any other video. Now, let's say that I switch back to YouTube for a second, just so it changes the settings, because now if we scroll down here, it's gonna say 10,000 right here in dark gray. But if we tap on watermark, boom, it fills in 60,000 and the data burn-in is there. We didn't do any subtitles for this, so that's fine. Everything looks good. All you have to do at that point is just select the location that you want to export your video to. Hit add to render queue, and boom, just like that, hit start render, you're good to go. Now, if you want to switch between your different presets, all you have to do is tap the down arrow and select a different preset that you have. Really, that's it. If you don't like the preset, if you just want to break up with the preset just wasn't making you happy and it just wasn't working out between the two of you, you can ditch the preset. All you have to do is tap on the three dots here, tap on delete current preset, delete, and there, it's gone. No more drop down arrow. I do have my YouTube HD preset, which is there, but aside of that, yeah. Pretty awesome, right? There you go. Now, I added a watermark to this using those settings, but do remember, if you're gonna do watermark, you need to go to workspace and you need to drop down to data burn-in to, you know, make it work. So otherwise it's not gonna know what to burn in on it, and you're not gonna have a watermark. So you're gonna be left out. Just an extra tip on this, you can do whatever you want, but what I like to do at the beginning of my project is actually set up the delivery settings ahead of time, so that way I just don't have to worry about it at the end. It's just a lot easier to focus on that. Then once I'm done, I skip to the last page, which is the delivery page, and you click start render and you're good to go, really. You might find it useful to do so as well. It doesn't take long, but I like to get the simple things out of the way first, so that way I don't have to worry about it again. Makes sense, right? So number six on this list is keyboard shortcuts, because nobody wants to use the mouse non-stop. I mean, when you're dragging the mouse along and you're trying to click on stuff, it takes a while, and then you have to be precise, and the keyboards are so much easier to push buttons. You push a couple of buttons and boom. So the less I have to use the mouse, the better. That's why I'm gonna get into this right now. That was probably more complicated than I had to make it, but you know. Keyboard shortcuts will save you so much time, so knowing where to find them as well as memorizing them to the best of your ability are gonna be your two greatest assets. So, you know, definitely pay attention, because you don't want to waste time. Nobody wants to keep using the mouse. Stop using the mouse. Stop clicking your mouse. Let's go. Let's get into this. So first thing we're going to do is go up here to keyboard customization. The cool thing about this is that it tells you exactly what is going on, what keys are assigned to what, and some of them are not assigned to anything. So you can actually choose to assign them to pretty much whatever you want to do. If we go up here to the right side, you can switch between DaVinci Resolve's layout, Final Cut Pro, Avid, Premiere Pro, pretty much anything really. And you can select them, change them however you want to. If you're looking up what certain keys are, there's two different ways to go about it, all right? The first one is to hold down the actual keys on the keyboard and it will tell you. So say if I do Control-Shift-V, it's gonna say paste insert. So it's pretty much just gonna like part the waters like Moses and plant whatever you copied down in there. And it's gonna find a way to fit it in there, and it's not gonna overwrite anything. long story short. The other way is actually just to click on the buttons themselves. So if I hit Control-Shift-X, that is ripple cut. So that's going to pull a clip out of the timeline and remove any gap in between. So that is super useful. Use it all the time. You want to make sure that you are too. So that's how you look up what the keys actually do. Another thing you can do is actually search over here on the right side, and you can pick your command. So if we were to go to, say, the timeline, you only want to add a video transition. Well, that's Alt-T, and you can change that by clicking in here and putting whatever you want. So I'll say Control-Alt-D, for example. Okay, but that's a little overly complicated compared to Alt-T, which they already had set, so I'm just going to reset that. You can set these, and so let's say notes, okay? This one is not assigned by default. This is actually blank by default, but because I use the notes so much, I actually assigned Shift-N to use it because that one wasn't previously assigned to anything else, and N for notes makes sense. N by itself is used for magnetic snapping, where it'll jump to the nearest line. So let's say that you have your keyboard laid out exactly how you want it. Now you want to save it as a preset. So what we're going to do is go up here and click on Save as New Preset, and I'm going to name it, we'll just name it Hello. And there we go. Hello is selected by default. And if we want to change Hello, I can change Hello, and it's not a big deal. You just drop down and select something different. Now with that said, if you want to export this to either back it up, so, you know, if something happens to your computer or you have to reinstall DaVinci Resolve or whatever the case might be, you can re-import it in and, you know, not be a big deal, then I'm going to show you how to do that. If you want to share it with a friend or multiple friends, you know, who doesn't want a keyboard layout? I know, you know, if we're friends, I totally want a keyboard layout. And I'm going to export Hello. Boom, it's exported. Now I can share it with my friends. They're gonna be happy. I'm happy. Life is good. So yeah. What if I didn't like it though? In that case, what I want to do is tap on these three dots again, delete preset, and then I'm gonna select Hello. It's gonna ask me, am I sure that I want to permanently delete Hello? Yes. Yes, I'm sure. I clicked on it, didn't I? Delete. You're gone. Bye. That's pretty much it. You click save and you're done. Are you already using different keyboard layouts? So nothing that I showed you in this video is super complicated, and although it may take a little bit of time to set up, the amount of time that you save in the long run is just gonna be a lot better. Like seriously, once you set it, you're not gonna have to worry about it again, which is why it's also important to back up your information so you don't have to do it again, because nobody likes to repeat themselves. I hate repeating myself. Don't make me repeat myself. So did you already know all these tips? Did I leave any tips out that you think people should know about? Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button if you got value out of this. Share this with a friend if you think it'll help them. Don't forget to hit subscribe because I'm coming out with videos all the time. And of course ring the bell so you get notified when that happens. And until next time, I'll catch you later.